Anaximander was a philosopher who was born in the Ionian city of Miletus in 610 BC and died in 546 BC. He was the pupil of Thales of Miletus, who founded the Miletian school of thought, which deviated from the anthropomorphic and mythological explanations of the world at the time, in favor of a more naturalistic account of the world. According to writers G.S. Kirk and J.E. Raven, Anaximander made the first detailed attempt to explain all aspects of the world of man's experience. Central to this experience was the Apeiron. The Apeiron, which meant spatially infinite to Aristotle, is an indefinite and essentially primordial entity that surrounds everything. It is the arch. Due to the obscurity of Anaximander's writings, many scholars have debated on the features of the Apeiron, that it is indefinite because it is not identified as an element like water, and also that it is indefinite because it has unlimited extent and duration. It is an immortal entity. Aristotle attempted to decipher the mystery of the Apeiron by positing that it acted as an intermediate or mixture of elements, therefore giving qualitative features to a supposedly indefinite entity. He does, however, suggest that there is a calibrated balance between the elements in the Apeiron, as an imbalance of the elements would disallow the rise of other elements through saturation. Now the Apeiron is external to our world and surrounds us. The flow of things to and from the Apeiron is dealt with a cosmological law called the law of retribution between opposites. Here you can see that Anaximander still attempts to give his naturalistic account the qualities of Homeric gods. When things die, they go back to the Apeiron, and new things emerge. These new substances were created based on the features of opposites like hot and cold, wet and dry, much like how seas gain and cause flooding, and how it falls in order to cause drought. There is a cyclical element to Anaximander's theory as he emphasizes on cosmic stability. Therefore, one could say that the universe originated in the separation of opposites. Several philosophers have also argued whether this rigid thought process applies to the creation of worlds. Does a new world take the place of a world that has just died and gone back to the Apeiron? Or are there an innumerable amount of worlds that coexist as one giant cosmic organism? The atomists tended to favor the latter, however thinkers like Simplicius would argue otherwise in support of successive single worlds. However, based on Anaximander's description of celestial bodies that surrounded the earth in the form of rings, it is more likely that he approved of a more atomistic interpretation of world regeneration. Anaximander also offers a quasi-evolutionary theory of humans, where the first creatures generated from slime, and that man emerged from fish. The theory of the Apeiron is an interesting one, however it is hard to compare it to the rigid philosophy of people like Anaximenes, because it delves into thinking that is too abstract to be verified or even quantified. This is why there are many interpretations that have been posited, with thinkers even arguing whether the Apeiron is circular or has a vortex motion, but they fail to realize that the purpose of the Apeiron is as an indefinite thing, meaning that it cannot be prescribed qualitative features.